Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. So today I wanted to do a reaction to a video I've just seen by a person called NaDeSHoT, I believe. And he's put out this video saying that gamers just want to hate on games, basically. They want games to fail. And that we no longer live in a time where gamers are supporting the gaming industry. Everything is very negative. So I'm going to play this clip in its entirety to you. And then I'm going to give my take on it. Now you can probably already guess that I'm going to have a point of contention, but not completely. But I do think it's important to show people this clip and have a discussion about it. I also want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. So make sure you leave a comment regarding this, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about.
Something weird that has happened in the gaming community. I'm serious too when I say this. For some reason, everybody in the gaming community wants games to fail. It's very bizarre. Like, the whole thing with XDefiant is still, like, stumps me to this day. People complain about not having enough games to play, but when new games come out, even before they have played it, they're like, that game sucks, I'm not going to play it. Listen, man, if we keep tearing down these studios trying to make good games, like, yeah, not every single one is going to be fun, and not every single one is going to be a hit. But if we're sitting here, like, preying on its downfall before the game even comes out, what do you think's going to happen? Nobody's going to be investing in gaming and making new games. And you're not going to have shit to fucking play. You're going to be sitting here playing MW2 Remastered Edition. You're going to be sitting here trying to play fucking the same old games for the 1,000th time because these billionaires and fucking multi-billion publishers, they're not going to greenlight any new games, any new concepts, any new IP. I mean, I try to put myself in the shoes of myself when I was like 16 years old, but I can't. I was excited for new games when they came out. The problem is now we have too many options. We've seen too many different games. We've seen too many different ways to interact with games. Like, back in the day, bro, in 2007, when Halo 3, Gears of War 1, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare dropped the same fucking year, bro, we were lined up outside of GameStops, whether it was in a mall or attached to a fucking Hollywood Video, sitting there waiting, camped out, drinking fucking Mountain Dew, waiting for these new games for the midnight release. Everybody was so excited about it. Now when new games come out, we're fucking sitting around a goddamn fire witch artifact, like doing a satanic ritual for the game to fail miserably. I don't really get it.
Now I'm going to go through this point by point now that you've seen the entire thing. Now he starts off by saying everybody wants games to fail. And that's just not true. There are a subsection of people that will target certain games because they don't like the message they're pushing or they don't like the creator behind the game. Case in point, Hogwarts Legacy. Now, Hogwarts Legacy was the best-selling game of 2023, I believe, and even with all of the success that Hogwarts Legacy faced, it also came with a lot of backlash because the creator of Harry Potter, as we know, is J.K. Rowling, and J.K. Rowling has very, very strong views towards trans people and trans people in sports. Now, I'm not here to argue her points or argue against her points or for them or take someone's side, but the fact that she had those views, it started this targeted campaign at the game, really, where people were trying to take it down because they don't like what the creator has to say. They don't like the fact that she's involved with Harry Potter in any sort of way, which is, you know, it is what it is. It's her product. It's her creation. There's no way to really get away from that. So there are people, you know, that do want games to fail. But there's a majority of people where they just want games to be good. They don't want games to come out that are complete crap. They don't want to just accept any old rubbish. We've spoken about Mortal Kombat for ages on this channel. We were not happy with the state of the game. But if you look at the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, if you guys can't tell, this is a Helldivers top. Now, Helldivers is getting absolutely cooked online. And what people love to say, and they've said it to me hundreds of times before, and it's never been true for me, and I don't think it's true for a lot of people, is that when something is being attacked online, it's very popular to go and attack it as well. You will jump on the bandwagon for views. Now, I'm seeing the views on the Helldivers videos, 200,000 here, 100,000 here, for creators that have a smaller channel than myself. And I could have looked at it and been like, here's an opportunity for me to grow my channel. But I like Helldivers. And everything that people are saying in the videos is actually true and is valid. The Helldivers creators, they do seem to have a habit of nerfing things and making things harder. Now the reason that I'm not speaking about it, it's not because what they're saying isn't true, it's because I'm still having fun on Helldivers. I'm not experiencing the problems that majority of people are experiencing. Again, not to say they're not there, but I'm not experiencing them. If you guys look at my YouTube uploads, I always have Helldivers in the background and you can see me completing the missions, and I always play on the hardest difficulty. Now the reason that the problems in Helldivers have not affected me, and the reason why I'm not jumping on this, I don't even want to call it like a hate campaign, people are frustrated, but the reason it's not affecting me is that I play Helldivers the way I play fighting games. I pick one gun, one grenade, and one like sub gun, the secondary weapon, and I never change. It'd be very difficult for them to release a weapon where I want to walk away from the shotgun that I'm using right now. I think it's called the Punisher or something. I've been happy with that weapon since pretty much day one. I don't use the flamethrower, I don't use the railcan, I don't use any of that stuff. I use the same stratagems. I have the 500 kg because I think it looks cool when it blows up. I've got the 380 to terrorize my friends and let them know, you know, I'm about to drop the 380, guys, everyone better run. I have the dog backpack to assist me when I'm fighting loads of enemies. And what's the other one that I've got? I've got the laser, because the laser is just super helpful. And I have never changed. So the experience that I'm having on Helldivers is extremely positive. I don't think the difficulty is too bad. And I don't feel the need to make a video about it, attacking it. That being said, these people that are talking about Helldivers just want the game to be good for everybody. Just because it's working for me doesn't mean the game doesn't have issues. And it has glitches, don't get me wrong. I've run into a fair few glitches and the enemies are getting harder and harder. And even though I'm able to beat it, I completely understand where these players are coming from. So they don't want the game to fail. They just want Arrowhead to listen to them. But Arrowhead keeps on doing things they don't like. So I don't agree with him completely there. There are people that target games for stupid reasons like the J.K. Rowling thing. And even Black Myth Wukong. They've targeted that game simply because the Chinese developers have pushed away the Western narrative consultant agencies, the Sweet Baby Inc. types, and there's been this targeted hate campaign against the game, which is not working because gamers want this game to succeed. If you go on Steam, or if you look at PlayStation pre-orders, Black Myth Wukong is right up there amongst the highest selling games right now, and it's not even out yet. It's got so many pre-orders, so this is not true. There's partial truth to it. There are some that do, but in a lot of cases, if it's a good game like Space Marines 2 is coming out, a lot of people are excited for that. We want that to succeed. We want it to do very well. The second point is that he says that there's loads of games to play, but everybody complains when new games are coming out, and that is because there is a lot of shit that comes out. Back in the day, in the PS2 era, if you guys could see up there, I've got about 400 PS2 games. The PS2 era to me was just, it's untouched. PS2, N64, GameCube, you know, those consoles just have a wide variety of excellent games. You don't really get that anymore. There are good games that come out, and when they're good nowadays, they're really good. Like, production value is high, they nail a lot of different things, but they're also really bad, and there's a lot of games that try to push the message on people, and people don't like it, and they vote with their wallet. Just because the industry might want to pump out 100 games in the year does not mean I have to spend my money on all 100 games. I don't have to support all games. Not all games are going to be pushing a message that I particularly want to listen to or play through. There's loads of people that boycotted loads of different games that came out over the last couple of years. There was a hate campaign against The Last of Us, and rightfully so. There was a lot of things to dislike about it. I purchased The Last of Us because I wanted to have my own take on it. But you get my point. Like, what he's saying is just untrue. People are very happy to support games that are good. There's a lot of indie developers that create great games on Steam. I have a gigantic library of horror games now on my Steam. I haven't even gone around to playing half of them. And people are happy to support them. But if there's these AAA developers that are bringing out these games that look high budget but are actually shit, then we're going to let them know. The other thing is that back in the day, we didn't have a voice. If they released a game, gamers just went and played it. Now we have the internet. I can create a video. I can come on here. 1 million people could see it. It could get back to the developers. The developers could say, oh shit, this video is picking up steam. People are agreeing with him. Maybe we should make some changes. Back in the day, gamers didn't have a voice to really speak out about what they liked and what they didn't like. We just had to accept there's a new version of Street Fighter 2. There's another version 6 months later. There's a minor change to this. They released another version of Street Fighter 2, and we just continued buying it because we had no voice. We have that voice now, and we speak up about it. Thirdly, it sounds to me like this guy just wants us to accept any old bullshit. Even though he makes the distinction that it's not all games are going to be fun, at the end of the day, if there is an abundance of bullshit coming out, if developers are not listening to the needs of the gamers, then what do you want them to do exactly? If people are not having fun, they're not having fun. And it's not like people don't want to have fun. When fun games come out, where the developers have taken time and care to develop something that's worthwhile, like Elden Ring, yeah, you get some people complaining, oh, it's too hard. Those people are bitch made and they don't understand the point of the game, and I don't necessarily care if that offends anyone. That is my belief. The game has a very clear direction. The developers clearly took a lot of time and care, and this has been established throughout the series. So if people are whining about something like that, of course, I'm not going to really listen to people like that. That's like whining that you can punch in Tekken. It doesn't really make any sense. We know Souls games are going to be astronomically harder than your regular game. They designed them like that. Elden Ring was received very, very well, despite a vocal minority. The game sold well, the DLC sold well, highly praised, and people love it. But when you release garbage, like the most recent Saints Row, however long ago that was, or this Concord rubbish that they're bringing out, or the fact that Batman's come out on the VR and we don't get an actual proper Arkham follow-up, what, do you want people to invest in that bullshit and just, oh, they're spending a lot of money on this, it's a new IP, I should buy it? No, I don't care what it is. They could be, like, you guys know me as someone that plays Tekken a lot, plays fighting games. If they release a new Tekken game and it's rubbish, I'm going to let them know about it. And I think everybody should do that. We're not these doormats that these developers can be like, well, we sunk £1 million into this, so you're going to buy it. No, go fuck yourself. It's like the Borderlands film. You can produce as many gaming-related films as you want. You can put gaming or anime within the mainstream sphere. But at the end of the day, if you don't do a good job, I'm not going to support it. I've been very vocal saying that I am not optimistic about the Yakuza Amazon series because from what they're saying, the actors don't know anything about the games, and I don't know if the directors do. We have no real indication. Apparently the director is very well known for making Yakuza style documentaries, but not necessarily the Yakuza games. And people have said, oh well, Hugh Jackman never read the comics, and the girl in The Last of Us never played the games until much later on, and that's all true, and it could work, but it could also not. It just because it worked in one thing does not mean it won't in the other, and people are going to let them know. Now, I'm happy to be proven wrong because, of course, I want to watch a Yakuza series that is fun, but just call it how we see it. And if people don't want to invest time in it, if people don't want to buy games because of these reasons, then I think those people are completely valid. When you were 16 years old, the games that were coming out are drastically different to now, and you know that. You can tell in the tone and the design and generally what they offered back in the day. There was a plethora of games to choose from that had all sorts of different themes in them, but didn't feel like it was pandering, didn't feel like it was predatory with all the microtransactions that we have now. If you go back and look at the PS2 era, you have got so many gems on that system that I still go to, like when I went to Japan recently, or when I go to other parts of the UK and I'm at a car boot sale, I'm like, I've never even heard of this game before. I pop it into my PS2, it's an absolute masterpiece. PS2 was just brimming with great games. There's Shadow of the Colossus, Shadow of Memories, Kingdom Hearts, Shaolin Monks. You could be here all day talking about the gems that we had back in the day. I could be here for maybe 10 minutes to talk to you about the gems on the PS5, and that is being generous. So it's not the same as when you're a kid. It's not the same as when I was a kid. You know that, I know that. We don't live in the Diddy Kong 64 days. We no longer live in the Fatal Fury or Streets of Rage days. We have gems every now and then, and when they're good these days, they're good because we have a lot more money within the industry, but when they're bad, they are really, really bad. He also talks about how back in the day where we didn't have as many options as we do now, we've been exposed to too many options, but he fails to understand that with gaming or with anything, things progress, things get better, and when you're suddenly exposed to new avenues of playing, new ways to access games, and then they take things away from you or they don't provide the service that they were once providing, of course you're going to be like, this isn't for me. What I don't understand here is that all things in life progress, and then if it starts to regress, then people are going to say, I don't like this. Now, back in the Call of Duty, Gears of War, Halo days, there were a plethora of reasons to be excited to go and camp outside the store with your Mountain Dew and sit there excited with your boys waiting 6 hours to get your hands on your favorite game. I'll never forget doing that myself. There were plenty of games where me and my boys would go there and we'd wait for the latest, I think it was Street Fighter 4. That was like a monumental day because that was like the return of the king, basically. We hadn't seen a big blockbuster fighting game in a long time. And it's not to say that Street Fighter 6 isn't that, because Street Fighter 6 is certainly a good game, but my point is that the vibe in the gaming industry right now is A, things feel predatory, and B, it feels like there's less care that goes into a lot of games, and that's why you don't see people queuing up outside anymore. That's why you don't see people as excited. Obviously, you have the advent of Amazon delivery and all that stuff, so you don't have to really leave your house, and digital games are much more of a prevalent thing. But the reason that people are not as excited anymore is because there are less reasons to be excited. I don't really know what's not to get. People are not sitting around waiting for a game to fail. They don't want games to fail. People want to have fun. I can give you plenty of examples. I've already given some before, but again, I'll say Space Marine 2. People are very excited for that. Nobody wants that to suck. Nobody wanted Helldivers to be in the state that it's in right now. Although I'm still having fun, the concerns of the players around the world are completely valid. Nobody wanted Mortal Kombat 1 to suck. It just is what it is. People are very, very excited for Sparking Zero. There's not really any negative attention around that game. People are very excited for Black Myth Wukong. Super excited for that. There's another game I think called Project Zero or something, Project X or something like that. It's a very cool looking hack and slash game. I'll try and get the footage on the screen whilst I'm talking. There are plenty of games that people are excited for, but there's plenty of garbage as well, and gamers should let people know. The fact that this individual cannot fathom that and he doesn't understand why people are so vocal about these things is really baffling to me. Now, as I said, there are bad actors that want games to fail because they don't like the person working on it. I think those people are weird. I think if, like, for example, let's say Alyssa Mercante, right? A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people don't like her stances. But if she made a fire game, she makes a fire game. Like, at the end of the day, I want to be entertained. I might not support a game because I don't like somebody's ideological stances, or I might not like where they sit politically. That's up to me. I'm not saying that I will do that personally, but people have the right to do that. What I don't understand is when people target those people for harassment because they're making a game and they don't like that person. I think that's weird. What people did to J.K. Rowling was weird. You've got too much time and energy on your hand. You should be spending it elsewhere. But gamers in general, they're very excited to support games that are going to be good. We've got City of the Wolves coming out. People are very, very excited for that. People are very excited for 2XKO. So if it almost feels like a paid actor sort of scenario, even though I know he's probably not. It's a very disconnected from reality sort of situation, considering this person is apparently a very well-known gamer or streamer. It's very bizarre to me that you would come out and say something like that. It's very clear what is happening here, and it's clear to see how the industry has shifted away from things that we loved to forcing us to try and force us to play games we don't want to play, to having predatory microtransactions, rotating stores, loot boxes, all this bullshit. Of course gamers are going to be more vocal and more angry when we've been getting fed slop for how long now? This has been going on for ages. Now, as the economy continues to crush people, game prices continue to go up as well, and people are not making as much money. So people are very selective with where they want to spend their money, and I think they should be. I'm 32 years old now. I certainly don't invest in games the way I used to. I buy specific games now that I know I'm going to spend most of my time on when I get the chance to. So I'm not going to support an industry that's trying to force crap down my throat, and I'm certainly not going to buy games that are half-assed or half-made. I think gamers should expect better from developers considering how much money these developers have. I don't think it's acceptable to tell me that you're going to release a game that should have a story mode in it or have something that's functional and say to me, oh, we're going to drop it later on for free. No, release it when the game is supposed to come out. Otherwise, don't release the game. We'll wait. We don't want to get half-baked games. I think people, when they hear those things, should be like, right, well, I'm not going to buy it then. I'll buy it when the game is in a fully functioning state. Again, as I mentioned, microtransactions are going to turn people off of the industry, and it's going to get them going back to the PS2 days, the N64 days, the GameCube days, when those things didn't exist. I don't have to worry about any of that garbage when I turn on my Sega Mega Drive to play Sonic or Killer Instinct or whatever it might be on that console. I don't have to worry about any of those things. These days, when a game comes out, it's like, okay, who's going to be locked behind a wall, and what do I have to look forward to in the future, or lack of content or lack of support or whatever it might be. You want us to invest in your games, but then you don't want to listen to the gamers. I think it's nonsense. I don't have a problem with DLC because I don't have a problem with updates, but I don't like when they're predatory, and I think we all know when they're being predatory, and I think gamers are just, again, speaking out about it. I don't know how you're missing that point. It does feel like we have almost been coerced or manipulated by game journalists and game developers into being afraid to criticize their games and then being labeled bigoted or some sort of phobic. But at the end of the day, game developers and anybody else that is missing this point is that you exist because of gamers. If there's no gamers to sell your game to, you're out of a business and you've got to go elsewhere. So instead of calling people names all the time, trying to manipulate people into thinking that they're bad for not supporting something, or that we should be afraid to criticize, you should think again. You should be... Really, I have no issue with fan service, for example. I don't think it should come at the expense of a game's story. And obviously that's going to look different to different people, but that's where you sort of work out what the middle ground is. You're going to upset some people with some fan service, some people are going to think it's acceptable. But this whole making games to make yourself feel better or appealing to a group of people that are not really there, of course people are going to vote with their wallets. And I encourage everybody to criticize games where they're asking for your money. If the game is free, like 2XKO for example, I am probably not going to be into that game, but I've been sent a code for it, so I'm going to give it a try, and I'll keep an open mind. It doesn't look like the kind of game I would like, but I'm happy to be proven wrong, and I've got nothing negative to say about it. It looks good, just not for me. But if the game was charging us and then also not giving us things we didn't like, then yeah, I'm going to leave you a review and I'm going to say, hey, don't like your game. Or I'm going to leave you a YouTube video and say, hey, don't like your game. It is what it is. Gamers can tell when studios love what they're putting out. They genuinely can. Even people that are not so tuned into the YouTube space or the online space, Twitch, whatever that might be, people can tell when a lot of love and care has gone into a game, and word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing. So my advice to these game journalists or people like NaDeSHoT that don't seem to understand why gamers have become so visceral in their reactions towards things is that we've been getting fed shit for a long time and people are unwilling to put up with stuff anymore. When you give people things that are really good over time, they will be willing to put up with certain things. I always use Yakuza as an example because my experience with Yakuza through all 12 mainline games, I believe it's 12, is positive. I have nothing real negative to say. There's little things here and there, of course, nothing's perfect, but they have given me an overwhelmingly positive experience. So yes, there might have been things in Infinite Wealth like paying for New Game Plus. I think that's something people mentioned to me. I didn't even know about it. I can completely understand why people wouldn't like that and why they would talk out about it. But I'm less likely to make a negative video on your game or jump down its throat when you've given me banger after banger after banger after banger. If you brought out every Yakuza game and every game that was a massive problem and there were predatory microtransactions, then yeah, the next one you bring out, I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to look at you sideways. But if you do consistently good things for me and your franchise, I'm going to let certain things slide. I might be like, okay, I'm not going to invest money in this microtransaction you put in, but I'm not going to shit on your game too much because I have good memories. It's like Kingdom Hearts. Very disappointed at the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. I've never taken Kingdom Hearts to be a predatory franchise, so I might not be as interested anymore because I feel like it was not where I wanted it to go, but I ain't going to make hate videos on Kingdom Hearts. There's nothing to really hate on. It just wasn't for me. But if you bring out a predatory rotating store in a game that I've been playing for many, many years, then yeah, I'm going to talk about it, especially when the previous iteration pissed people off as well. So at the end of the day, I think gamers are doing the right thing. We have to hold these people to task because they produce the products that we put money into. If we don't put money into these games, they can't pay their bills, they can't feed their families. It's not that I want anybody to lose their jobs or be unable to feed their families, but at the end of the day, you don't shun us because we put the clothes on your back. That's just the way it is. I know that might sound harsh to say, but if you produce a game that I don't like and then you're rude to me about it when I voice some sort of concern about it, I ain't gonna buy it. Just look at the Sparking Zero developers. People have said to them, we don't like this, we don't like that, and they seem to be addressing it every single time a new trailer comes out. Every time a trailer comes out, the game looks better and better, down to the shading. People were pointing them out saying there's a tinge in Sparking Zero where characters look a bit yellow, and they changed it. They heard people saying there's no multiplayer offline. They changed it. They gave us the best that they could. They heard people saying multiple things about the game. They said, okay, we've heard it, we're going to address it. So listen to what people want and they will buy your games. And if any gamers out there is confused at why gamers have turned this way, just look at the history of the industry and look at where it's been going for the last 10 to 15 years. It's not been good. As always, guys, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about all of this in the comment section below. So please leave me a message. I always try to get back to you guys and I will catch you very soon. Take care and peace.